to our Donkeys and Dragons video chat, where we spend about 15 minutes chatting about a specific topic. Today's topic is quality engineering, and our guest is Ale Moreira. Ale is a director of software engineering, a co-host of the awesome podcast Engineering Quality, author of many publications, including her blog, which is The Road Less Tested. She's a quality engineering consultant, international speaker, and community builder. She's worked to build diversity in tech through organizing conferences, mentoring new speakers. She's so busy, but what we especially love her for is nurturing the amazing Women in Testing Slack group. So, hello, I'm Janet Gregory.
And I'm Lisa Crispin. And I've lost my
baby.
script. There it is. So welcome. Thank you, Ola, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
I mean, we go back many, many years now, which is wonderful. And just lately, I've been enjoying all your blog posts, your amazing engineering quality podcast with Royally and Veronica. Not only do I learn a lot, but it cracks me up every time. And so a lot of your writing and talking on the podcast has been talking about the shift towards quality engineering. We hear lots of people talking about that too. So we're curious what that term means to you.
Right. So yeah, quality engineering is this term that has been really gaining momentum now. Like we're seeing a lot of people talk about it in conferences and write about it. So to me, it really, this change in momentum, like it really reflects a big shift on how we think about software and quality in software. So for a long time, we testers were tied to quality assurance, right? Which implies that testers, it's only our responsibility to ensure that the quality of the software is there. And that never sat really right with a lot of us. Like we've talked about this before, but not just for us. Like I always thought it was also very demeaning for other people in the team that cares about quality too, like engineers and product people. Like they all are there. Most engineers and product people I've worked with in the past are just as worried about quality as we are as well. So that has never really sat well with the industry at large, I suppose. So we, as an industry, we've tried different titles, right? We've tried tester, we've tried, acronyms like SDAT, automation engineers. And what I really like about quality engineering is that it brings quality into everything that we do as the software engineering process. So from the very beginning, from inception all the way to the end, monitoring, even after we put into production, monitoring, observability. So it's not a task. It's not like a testing or coding, something that's done in the middle of that process. It really is a mindset that covers the whole process. So I think it's all about integrating quality thinking into the whole process. And it's exactly what both of you have been advocating for a long time, which is, holistic testing across everything. So, if there is engineering happening in that part, it should be quality and testing and thinking about quality happening there as well. So to me, it really goes beyond validating requirements or finding bugs. It's really about thinking through everything that goes into delivering quality software. And I really love how Anne-Marie puts it. She calls it an ecosystem. It's an ecosystem of processes, of models, of mindsets, of things that we do. I really love that because it captures how all of these moving parts come together to shape the quality of what we deliver in the end. So long-winded, but that's more or less how I'm framing quality engineering at this point in time.
And you're right about the whole system. I remember the first time I heard that word and I went, that's exactly it, right? Because you have to put that ecosystem in place. There's something else you mentioned that I had never thought about. I mean, we don't like the word quality assurance. And I think that's pretty clear that for a long time, but I never thought about it that others on the team might find it demeaning. That never occurred to me. So thank you very much for that one. Now, this that the teams you've worked with have made the shift to embrace the quality engineering concept. can you tell us a little bit about your own personal journey and your team's journey with it?
Yes, absolutely.
Good.
I think my journey into quality engineering has been a long one, right? I've started testing like in the year 2000. So since then, I think every experience that I've had has kind of shaped a little bit of how I see quality engineering right now. So I had in my own career, in my own time, to figure out where I wanted to fit within the whole quality process. Like what do I do best? What am I good at, and what do I want to focus on as far as quality is concerned? So along the way, I really my career has always within quality, but always it has pivoted a bit. Like I started as a tester with no technical skills, then I pivoted into learning about automation and getting some automation skills, working on that. Then I pivoted to leadership, and then I led engineering teams and QA teams and SDET teams, and so I've moved on to consulting and advisory roles within companies for that didn't have quality teams. So throughout this whole thing, I think I've used a lot of the experience I got from every part of my career to kind of shape what I see and how I approach quality engineering today. But testing has always been the core, right? So I always wanted to understand more about testing, how to test better, systems, models, mind maps. Like, how do we make sure that our tests are repeatable, that they are reliable, that people can understand what I'm explaining, both on the technical side, on the people side, on the business side as well. But also, I think what really other parts of what I've experienced, like learning about agile processes really well, learning about team dynamics and people skills, like all of that really goes into that ecosystem of quality engineering as well. And I always go back to what, the lovely Jerry Weinberg used to say, that software problems are always people problems, right? So if you really want to make a difference in the quality of the software, of the output that your team, not just the QA team or the testing team, but the engineering team, the actual software that you're putting out, you need to really understand people, you need to understand psychology, you need to understand how to influence people in the systems around you. So that's how I approach within my teams right now. So when I work with teams, either as a consultant or as a manager, I tend to think that quality engineering is a journey. We are never going to be there in that point where we say, hey, the quality is so amazing right now, we don't need to think about this anymore. So we are always in that journey. And that journey is also about bringing change. So bringing change is always hard. Like we inherently as humans most of us don't like change. We like to stay as we are. We have, we know what we're doing. And and also like quality engineering is not really, like we talked about, not about introducing one tool that's going to make all the difference or one process that's going to change everything. We have to change the whole ecosystem. We have to influence all of that. So when I'm working with teams and I'm trying to implement quality engineering within the team, I try to help that culture, to change that culture within the team about how they are thinking about quality. Because if we don't do that, if we're only thinking about either just process or just tools, we might have an impact, but the impact is going to be small. So quality doesn't live in isolation, and we kind of, we need to think of, I try to think of it in a more broad type of way.
Nice. And what you talk about in terms of quality engineering and what does a quality engineer do? For me, I always call myself a tester, but I was doing all those things, but obviously the word tester definitely doesn't convey, oh, I'm helping to get shared understanding of this feature before we start working on it. Does that sound like a tester? Not to a lot of people. And so it's clearly quality engineering is clearly a different role from what people when they hear QA or they hear tester. But I'm just wondering, do software teams need only quality engineers, or do they still need people who are more testers, like they're doing a more specific testing activity? Or, I mean, I don't even like the term QA, but let's say question asker. Do they need different flavors of people, or can quality engineer range enough to encompass everything needed for a team to help build their quality in?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it's something that I think about a lot too. And I think because we as an industry are still defining what quality engineering really means, both as a practice and a role or as a job title. I think what I tend to do right now is instead of thinking of it as a job title, I think it more as a role within a team. So it's instead of I haven't had anyone in any of my teams yet that their job title is a quality engineer. I've seen in other companies, and I know it's picking up momentum as well. But the way that I've been working so far is to really bring that mindset to the whole team. And it's more bringing awareness to of the quality practices that we need to implement. So in practice, this often plays out differently depending on the team, but you might have a part of the quality engineer, what we think of a job title, being done by a tester or a QA or an SStat, or someone within the team that has that testing role. That they might suggest and implement new processes, or they might find better ways to detect bugs earlier. And you might have an engineering leader as someone that is advocating for quality at the leadership level, for example. So I think eventually we are going to have more of that role, and I think it might replace other roles. But at the moment, I am trying to approach it more. Sorry, it might replace other titles in other people's jobs. But I think for now, the way that I'm approaching it now is I'm seeing it more as a role that different people can kind of have within a team.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. As you were talking, I'm bringing my little notes here. But when you said, I don't think of it as a role or as a title, quality engineering to me is how does the team work and put quality into it? Like more like we talk about holistic testing, but the engineering part of it is it's quality engineering versus a quality engineer, because as soon as you put a title to it, all of a sudden you've given them the responsibility to be. So in Canada, at this point of time, we can't call ourselves engineers unless you have the pinky ring. So the title is off the books anyhow, just not happening. But I really like the idea of making it as not even a role, but the ecosystem. Let's call it the ecosystem of quality engineering that everybody partakes in. I kind of like that little idea. So I think we have time for one more question. You encourage leaders to build for the long game, right? Because it is a long game, to build the right systems, the culture, the trust, and that focus on quality. But as Lisa likes to say, it's tough in our economy, especially in the US, where the short-term results are rewarded, right? It's they'll just need that money. And so they're looking at the short-term gains. Do you have any ideas how we as quality folks can encourage that investment in long-term gains?
Yeah, well, I have tons of ideas. Some of them work, some of them don't. But let me talk about some that do work, right? I'll start by saying that it is not an easy job right now to be in quality anything, right? Because not just because of the economy, but now with all the hype around AI as well, that everyone's chasing 10x everything, right? It's vibe coding, it is 10x velocity, it's all of these, these new, words that we are using, that everyone is jumping on that bandwagon. So it seems like we are the ones staying behind, right? Because there isn't enough people now talking about the long game. In software, like you said, it is a long game, right? If we treat it as a short game, we are shooting ourselves in the foot. Like we can code fast, we can vibe with AI, we can ship things really quickly, but we need to remember that when we ship software, that's just the beginning. That's not the end, right? That's when our customers are going to start using it. That's when we're going to start finding the real problems in the real world. We have, real interfaces. So that's when things actually start. So I try to bring to the table like conversations about maintainability, sustainability, observe all the abilities, right? Observability, how we can gonna handle data and all the interfaces. Because if we're not thinking about that, we're setting ourselves up for trouble. So what I try to do within the organizations I work with right now is try to bring focus to that. And again, I'm not saying let's not use AI and let's not, I think we can definitely use AI to our advantage, but we cannot forget that quality, I mean, this is something else that, quality and testing and velocity have always been kind of not at odds, but we've always been on different ends of the scale. Like there is always that thing between us. Like some people want to deliver fast, some people want to deliver with quality, and we have to find the balance in there. So that's not new. That's just been I think the AI hype has been, has amplified that, but we've always been at odds with speed. So we need to find a balance. We need to find, we need to have the conversations about what is quality for our team, because quality is not a tangible thing. It's something that, is value to some person, and we need to understand what that value actually is. Once you understand what that is, then we need to start having conversations about the long game, bringing back that focus and saying, hey, everyone, love that we're going to deliver this fast, but we also have a duty of care here. Like we are the ones who are going to have to maintain the software later. So we have to live with it, and the data that comes with it and all the problems that come with it. So if we are going to be compromising on quality, we can do it, and we've done it in the past. We always have to find the balance, but let's at least do it consciously. Let's not just think about one side and not talk about the other side. So that's how I've approached it recently.
What a great way to wrap this little dialogue with us. It's so fast and we're slightly over, but that's okay. But that's it's all about the balance.
Yeah,
it really is. All right. So we would like everybody to really think about what we've said about quality, but you can contact us at any time. We'd like you to subscribe to our channel, as well as our newsletter. Our newsletter has new content every month. It comes out on the first Tuesday of every month. And don't forget to check out our blog posts. So see you next month. The links to Ali's contact information will be in the notes. And for now, see you later.
Thank you so much, Ali, for all this inspiration.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
See y'all next time.
Bye.